guys, how are you?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. So, ever since, and I've explained this in the previous video, ever since I did that Marvon McCray case, um, that was a story that really wasn't getting a lot of attention. And when I did the story, a lot more eyes got on the story. I've been having people ask me, "Can you do this story? Can you do this story?" I don't mind coming on at the end of my day before I wind down, coming on, shedding light on stories that aren't getting much attention. So, and I've been getting some. So we did Marvon McCray. We did the lady that had AIDS. I can't remember her name. Gina too. Uh, we did last night, Dana's, and so we've got another one tonight. And each time I read through these stories, I think, wow, I'm not gonna. This is bad. This things don't get bad or any worse than this, but they do. They always do. Tonight we're going to talk about what happened in a jail in Indiana. Let me put up the picture. Okay, so this is a picture of Officer David Lowe. Yes, he was a corrections officer. That's him in his uh garb. What do you call it? His sheriff outfit. I don't know if it's a name for it. And that's him next to him, same guy in jail for what he did. It's rare. I mean, let me just start. I don't know. I was going to say it's rare that you find a cop or sheriff's officer that crosses the line and goes to the other side. But maybe it's not so rare. Maybe I'm just yeah, I take that back. It's not rare. He's getting what he deserves. Okay, what did he do? Well, this is unbelievable. He sold inmates keys. So they're in jail. This all took place. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. In Clark County, Indiana. It's the County Jail. He sold keys to the women's side of the prison to inmates that were on the male side of the prison for $1,000. I'm not making this up. For $1,000. Then he allowed them to use the keys at night to go to the women's side of the jail. Let me take this off the screen so you can see my face and how disgusted I am. To go to the women's side of the jail, in which the inmates with a S, uh, oh my God, they entered the female cells. They sexually assaulted the women. The R word. All of the prison guards turned a blind eye. I'm not making this up. In the court papers, it said it lasted for hours. For hours, these women were assaulted. The women said they banged on doors, they pushed emergency buttons, they cried out for help. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. You mean to tell me not one single guard heard these screams? Not one single guard noticed that what the hell is some male inmates doing on the female side? Can you imagine? And they said this went on for hours. It brings a tear to my eye. Um, Also, so that happened. It went on. They were harassed, they were threatened, they were AR'd. No help came. The next day, they tried to go to the authorities and report what happened. They got punished. If you talked about it, if you tried to report it, things got worse for you. Who do you turn to? Where do you go for help? I'm already in a cell in a isolated area away from the rest of the world. These women were terrified. They already feel like women in prison, they get labeled. They get labeled. And most of these women, I was reading the lawsuit, and I'll talk about that in a minute, were minorities or underprivileged white women. You already feel that people don't listen to you to begin with. Now, I go to my to someone, one of the guards, and tell them what happened, and then I get in more trouble. Can you imagine what they were feeling? Stacy says, Jesus needs to come back. I read this last night. I was sick to my stomach. Getting punished was worse to me. So I want to put you in the women's frame of mind. You're just demoralized. I have to take it. I can't get help. So let me tell you what happened. So one of the women that got out told her family. One of the family members insisted that they go above the sheriff to what is his name? The chief of police. His name is Jamie Noel, and reported. Not only did they do that, they wanted to make sure that they were heard. They convinced 8 women to come forward and file a lawsuit. Best advice ever given. They convinced them to file a lawsuit. So they end up suing David and the the chief of police, pardon me, Jamie Noel. Once that happened and they found out what was going on, David, the low life scum that sold the keys to the inmates, was arrested. So now how does that feel, David? You are where you belong, behind bars. Can you imagine what would just make what? Huh? What would make him do such a thing? But he's not the only guilty one. All the other deputies that turned a blind eye. So they got 8 women to come forward and file a lawsuit for not maintaining their civil rights. Then, after that, a second lawsuit was filed with 20 women came forward. All it took was that one brave person, and now it, everyone's coming forward. Rightfully so. You have to tell your story. Because if you don't, do you think you're going to be the only victims? It's no telling how many times this could have happened in the future or have happened in the past. So in the lawsuit, it's saying that the incident went down October 23rd, 2021. Took a whole year before these women can see any sign, any inkling of justice. And I'm glad that they included the chief of police. This happened on your watch. You might not have been there, but those are your deputies. You're just as guilty. It's insane what happened. Also, they were also able to get surveillance cameras. So now, whew, it's caught on tape. And have you guys noticed this? When with the invention of the cell phone, which everyone has a cell phone now that has a camera on it, it's getting harder and harder to commit crimes and get away with it. They're on buildings, cameras are everywhere. I'm just glad that the evidence wasn't destroyed because you know what? As far as I'm concerned, everybody, all the sheriff deputies that were on duty that night are in trouble. You're being exposed. And I'm sure they're going to clean house. How awful what these women endured. I hope they feel they have taken back a little bit of their power. I hope that they feel some kind of satisfaction in just filing the lawsuit. I'm sure they will be compensated, which is, you can't be compensated enough for what happened to them. No money can take that night back. No money can take away those scars that were put on those women. But at least, this is some kind of solace. I hope. Right now the women choose to remain anonymous. I get that. They probably can't trust anybody. I know I wouldn't. When the proper authorities, the sheriff deputies, turn their back on us and let this happen to us, who can we trust? It's crazy. Very, very crazy. Let me go ahead and play you this news report.
Sexually assaulted, threatened, and completely terrified.
Startling allegations coming out of the Clark County Jail tonight. A corrections officer accused of giving male inmates access to the female side of the jail.
And now 13 Investigates has learned that 20 women claim that access led to attacks and rape behind bars.
And tonight at 6, our Jenny Runovich digs into this lawsuit against the Sheriff's Department.
Well, the allegations in this lawsuit are disturbing. A jail guard accused of selling a key to male prisoners who allegedly used it to assault and rape nearly 24 female inmates. 20 women listed in the federal lawsuit call it a night of terror at the Clark County Jail, an alleged attack by male prisoners uninterrupted for hours.
Women were harassed, sexually assaulted, threatened, and completely terrified. When I met with each and every one of these women, and they broke down repeatedly, you get an impression, an understanding of what these women went through.
According to the complaint, the incident last October started with a bribe behind bars from David Lowe, a now former corrections officer who's facing separate criminal charges. The civil lawsuit says Lowe, in exchange for money, gave male inmates keys to access the female jail pod.
Which of course allowed the male inmates at one point during the night to come in with their faces shielded by articles of clothing or towels.
The lawsuit claims multiple men grabbed and groped the female inmates, exposed their genitals, and at least 2 women, the suit says, were raped. Alleged attacks that lasted hours.
These females were doing everything they could to alert the jail staff. They were pounding on the door for help. They were hitting the buzzer on the inside of the pod in order to alert jail staff.
The lawsuit claims once officers did respond, the female inmates were punished by losing privileges. Attorneys say they're now working to get video footage of the alleged incident, but the mere presence of cameras inside and the alleged lack of staff intervention is why attorneys tell 13 Investigates the women are suing not only David Lowe, but also the sheriff and unknown jailers.
This was a complete and utter breakdown of the one thing that you should be able to rely upon jails to provide, and that's security. And when that happens in the night, men crashing through the door, and you have zero control from that moment on, maybe you can start to understand the damages these women went through.
13 Investigates reached out to the Clark County Sheriff's Office today, and they told us they don't comment on pending litigation, but they did tell us that David Lowe was investigated and arrested the night of this alleged incident. His felony case goes on trial in September. If you want to read the civil lawsuit, we've got it for you on WTHR.com.
I can't believe that this story is not getting a lot of attention, because if it happened in this prison or jail, what's to say it won't happen at another one? So I don't mind putting a spotlight on this story. It's absolutely horrific what these women went through. And, let's pull some comments and see how you guys feel about this. Disgusting. It absolutely is. I can't believe that this even happened. Thanks. It's a 60-day lockup plus. They had another show showing the women jail and women who has kids behind bars. I watch that stuff all the time. I love it. Are those your thighs? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. My apologies. I thought the female officers were the ones being attacked. It was both. Well, you mean it's this is what I'm thinking. There had to be some female deputies on duty, especially for the women's side of the prison. Can you imagine? Can you imagine turning a blind eye? There's more to this case. I can't wait until the trial comes up because maybe they were being threatened too. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure there had to be some female women on duty. Insane. It's not just the CO. They've got to do a deeper investigation. Yeah, that's what I'm just saying on the staff, especially if they were spotlighted on 60 days in and still haven't corrected anything. They were spotlighted on the show? Mm, 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 mm. Diane says, bravo for bringing this to light. Those poor women have to be checked for STDs. Yes. I didn't think about that, but yes. And everything else. What a horrible thing to go through. How many guards were paid? Well, in the lawsuit, they're saying only the one, David, the one that got fired. But it doesn't make sense. Something had to encourage these other deputies to turn a blind eye. That's just how I feel about this situation. I think a lot more of this story is going to come out. There's a lot more to this story, and it has to come out. I mean, I just don't see every officer turning a blind eye. There were some other things going on in this jail. I mean, it's just not making sense to me. It does not make sense to me. I'm 6'4", okay. Mankind is done. Empathy and sympathy seems like it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what else to say. I never heard of this case before. Exactly. That's why I'm putting spotlight on these cases for the next couple of days. Like I said, I don't mind coming out at the end of my day, just shedding a little light so a story could kind of get legs and get out there so more people could hear of it. Because I fear that if it happened in one jail, it easily can happen in another. And when you're in jail, you rely on the deputies to provide you safety. I don't even know what more to say. Maybe the video was the product, possibly even more evil than we can imagine. I hate to say this. It's my gut feeling that there's a lot more to this case. Unfortunately, a bad deputy or deputies with the S can run amok for a long time without people finding out. Because like I said before, it's mostly minority women, underprivileged white women who already feel that society's not going to listen to them anyway. As if they have no rights, but you do have rights. And no one should touch you inappropriately or even the R word. It seems odd that a bunch of deputies would put their job on the line for one idiot cop. It's exactly, Debbie. There has to be more to the story. I'm going to follow it. There has to be more to this story. And this story needs to gain legs so more people will know about it. Yes, they showed some women who were getting pregnant being 2 to 3 months, but seen incarcerated for 6 months. I didn't see it, but you guys are saying it was already featured on television. Everybody on the staff needs to be held accountable. Every single staff member. Every single one. Everybody at the prison should be made accountable and punished to the highest level for all that was affected by this. Everybody. Everybody. What about the other officers? Did they get a cut? No, not as yet. I don't know if in the future, but right now, the only person that has suffered any kind of punishment was um, David Lowe and the police chief because he's getting heat for it. And he's mentioned in the lawsuit. How did they get the money? I don't know. That's a good question. How did they get the money? You're not supposed to have any money in prison, but we know all kind of things can get in prison, from drugs to money to cell phones. I'm just going to say this. I don't know if I should say this, but I know someone in prison that uses a cell phone. I'm not kidding. It sounds like a really scary place. Yeah, no place I want to be. No place. This is so sad. It's more than sad. I wish I knew a word that's worse than sad. It's unacceptable and it's sad. My brother went against some bad guards and it cost him a lot. So we all know that the guards run the show. Make one of them mad, you might not eat for a while. Make one of them mad, you might lose privileges. I mean, it's just sickening, absolutely sickening when a guard abuses his power. And I don't even know what's up with this David Lowe guy. I mean, $1,000, it's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. $1,000 and you mess up 28 women's lives. Make this make sense to me. It's just disgusting. They say this is normal practice for them. So happy they got caught. I mean, listen, prison's no bed of roses. It's not. I mean, all kind of things happen in the justice system. It's just bad. It's just bad. Oh, someone said, unfortunately, this is the town I'm from. You're from this town? Oh, I'm hoping that it's at at least major news in your town because we haven't heard about it nationwide. Mm. If you know more about it, please put it in the chat. This is absolutely insane. I wonder if a woman became pregnant, will the law make her keep the unborn baby? Oof. Ooh, Jay Ross, you are speaking facts. It's a big mess. This very well could happen. And correct me if I'm wrong, Indiana's one of those states that are very strict with their abortion laws. This is just, whew. I refuse to believe that something, no, I sound crazy saying this. I hope something good comes out of this. I don't know if that's disrespecting the women, but when I say that, but I'm hoping that because damage has been done. Oh, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. Let's see what we got. So glad you bring attention to this horrific story, Sharrell. Thank you. I'm a new subscriber and I love your channel. Thank you so much from Miss Jenny. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's hope that we could put a spotlight on this story like we did the Marvon case. Because, this needs to be spotlighted. I did grand jury and a CEO testified that his sister was dealing drugs for the guy he was she was testifying about that was locked up. It was a fight between the guards and the inmates. Rikers. Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Rikers, if you ask me, Rikers, San Quentin have to be some of the worst prisons. I mean, it's really, really bad. Rikers is terrible. I hear so many horror stories out of them. Angola, oh, jeez. I'm in North. Oh, thank you, Kenya. I'm in Northwest Indiana, and to answer about the if she got pregnant, Indiana, you can't get no abortion. They passed it. I that's what I figured. Indiana is a tough state. Very conservative. They don't play around. I have family from Indianapolis and Terre Haute and Gary. They don't play around. Rikers is corrupt as hell. It sure is. It sure is. Oh, listen to this. My uncle is in Angola. It's a whole city. Angola for me. So I watch a lot of documentaries. Um, and I used to watch Lockup where they go to different prisons. And unfortunately, I have family in prisons. Angola, I couldn't do it. I can't. I would cry. I can't. I can never commit a crime because I would not make it in Angola. I just won't. I just couldn't. I no prison, but especially Angola. Like I'm peeing on myself, like no, crying on the bus. I can't do it. Angola is a whole different prison world. I mean, I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't. Here, another person saying this jail was on 90 days in. I mean, everybody's saying that. I love that show, by the way. I didn't see the episode where this jail was on there, but it's pretty bad. All right, guys. So that's my story for tonight. Um, like I said, you guys are pouring in the stories that you want a spotlight put on, and they're all deserve attention. I'll put it that way. So, like I said, I don't mind coming on for a half hour, 35 minutes before I wind down and talking about these stories. These stories need to gain traction. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. It's pretty bad. Don't forget to click that like button so we can get this video in the algorithm. And I will be coming to you every night with a different story that I feel needs a spotlight on. You guys keep sending me stories and we'll keep putting them out until I'm tired. But right now, each story is just equally fascinating and needs to be in the spotlight, especially this one, because no guard needs that much power. They really don't. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow with my scheduled regular housewives videos and hot topics. Until next time, good night, guys. See you tomorrow.